Welcome to What's in the Box. And this, of course, is where I spend my money to entertain you. So let's just jump right into it. This box has actually been sitting in my office for a few weeks, and I'm just getting around to it. So let's dive into it, see what's here. As I recall, this is a surprisingly large box for something that's not as large. But we'll see what else is in it. Oh boy, okay. So here we go with the foam peanuts, and why it's a box within a box. So first let me get rid of the foam peanuts. Okay, let's get this box out. Ugh, I'm sure this is going to be a mess. Man, I hate these things. The only thing I dislike more is that styrofoam that breaks up into the tiny little balls that then get everywhere and stick to everything, and you never actually ever get rid of them for months and months. Yeah, this is sort of like it, but okay, box number 2. I can already see some styrofoam in there, so this should be fun and messy. All right, we're gonna jump and skip to the part where I have gotten rid of all the foam. Okay, I think I've gotten rid of most of it. Let's take a look. It's a flash unit, Promatic. I don't know who made that. You know what? This actually looks like a rebadged Vivitar. So probably give that to charity. Kodak lens cleaning paper. Don't actually have much use for that anymore these days. And, well, there's some more foam peanuts, but let's get rid of the box. And here's the contents of the box. Now it's a Ziploc bag. Notice that this is branded Meyer. That's that is sort of a superstore grocer up in, well, I know there's some up in Michigan. I don't know if they're elsewhere. All right, so we can see that this says Pentax, Asahi Pentax, and here's a little Pentax symbol. However, it's not a small Pentax, is it? Which one is it? There we go. Okay, this is a Pentax Spotmatic. It is the SP, as you can see. And this one actually says Asahi, or yes, this one says Asahi Pentax. So in the 1960s, some of these were marketed as Honeywell Pentax. And if you recall, in one of the other What's in the Box episodes, we have this one. Honeywell Pentax. So in fact, what does this one say? So instead of saying Asahi Pentax, this one says Honeywell Pentax. Honeywell, of course, was not the manufacturer. Honeywell was just one of the partners in the U.S. and likely the distributor. So this comes with its case, soft case. Pull that off of here. And let's go through the camera. You know what? How about if I remove this real quickly? Once again here, now I'm going to remove this. I want to talk about a couple of things that are very peculiar, well, this is actually a Pentax branded UV filter, but I wanted to talk about some things that are very specific to this camera. So this is one of the old school Pentax SP 1000 or SP. This is getting near the end of the line for the Spotmatic, I believe. The early ones actually only had a top shutter speed of 1/500th of a second, so this is a slightly later version. I'm not sure what this switch is. It might actually be for well, let's find out. Remember, this used the screw mount, the 42mm screw mount. Okay, that actually locks the aperture or closes down the aperture. Interesting. I haven't owned one of these for a while. I owned a couple of these probably around 2007 or 8, and I later sold them. I don't remember why I sold them. I just sold them now. Oh, I know why I sold them. I sold them because they had the f1.4 Tacomar. So this is a super Tacomar. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that. I'm not really great with foreign words, as you can tell, non-English words. I guess I should be, but I'm not. Ooh, well, they sent it with the shutter tension, but I don't think it really makes much of a difference. This did take a battery. I'm going to guess this probably took a mercury cell, as most of them did in that time. Ugh. Come on. This feels a bit corroded. Maybe it's not. Ugh. Well, it does have a battery in there. I have no idea what cell this is. In this case, you might actually be... I'm going to guess that the original was a mercury cell, and you might be able to substitute a hearing aid battery. Of course, the Zinc Air hearing aid batteries, the downfall with them is the battery only lasts 6 months. So, you know, win some, lose some. Okay, let's take a quick look and see if we can figure out what kind of battery this used. It says mercury battery. Right here, mercury battery. So this took a PX400 or RM400 or equivalent. What I might do is test it both with a lithium, one of the more modern silver oxide / lithium cells, and a hearing aid battery, and see if there's any difference in the meter. This is a pretty basic camera. This was very well thought of back in the day. This has a self-timer, as you can see. It has, as I mentioned, it has speeds running from 1 second to 1/1000th of a second, plus B. Let's listen to a couple of the slow speeds. All right, in the back, it's pretty standard. Here we have our pressure plate. And of course, the pressure plate, the purpose of the pressure plate is to keep the film flat against the film rails and keep it flat against the film plane. So when you take your photo, you get as sharp a photo as possible. Here's your sprocket wheel, or your spindle with the sprockets. And here's your take-up spool with a serrated thumb wheel for you to get things started. Everything in here looks pretty good. Ooh, there's some felt there rather than foam. I'm going to guess, though, that these foam seals are shot. Let's take a real quick poke at them. Yep, there you go. That's how you can tell. Yep, those are shot. This used a foam bumper here, so this will need to be replaced as well. Actually, that sounds pretty solid. I guess I thought I remembered this camera as being a bit noisier than it actually is. Like I said, I haven't owned one of these cameras in probably a decade and a half, roughly. So yeah, actually, you know what? That's not a real noisy camera. You'll notice that this has an accessory shoe, not a hot shoe. So that means if you wanted to use a flash with it, you had to then take a small cable and run it to your post. FP is, I don't know why they call it FP, because it's really for flash bulbs. Maybe you should have called it FB. And X is for electronic. So if I wanted to use this flash, for example, I couldn't. And the reason I couldn't is because there's no way to synchronize. There's no electronic connection between the flash and the camera. So you'll notice that with the two lenses, this one has, you can see that purplish, greenish reflection. And this one, however, is very yellow. And there's a particular reason for that. From what I had understood, I don't know if this to be true, but from what I understood, this used thorium. It was either in the lens making process, I believe it was the lens making process, which over the years yellowed and gave it this golden hue. I had also read that if you put this lens out in sunlight, that it will somehow treat the lens and eliminate the golden hue. I did try that and I thought it worked, so I think I'll do a video possibly in the future, probably close future, and I'll talk about this particular lens, and we'll give that a test. We'll see if it actually does hold true and if it does remove this yellow tint to it. All right, to remove this, I believe this, I think the slide off has something to do with these ears. I don't know if you press down or press up on them, or maybe the whole thing just, oh, you do. You press inward and then this slides off. Now, without the accessory shoe, which really isn't needed, because unless you specifically plan to shoot with a flash, you don't really need that accessory shoe. The camera takes on a slightly different look, and I actually like it a bit better without the shoe. There were a lot of cameras that really never had accessory shoes, and most of them, of course, were cameras that didn't have, pre-electronic flash, let's say that. Probably anything before early 1970s. I think that's when the whole hot shoe sort of came into being, and, you know, became pretty standardized throughout the industry. This is a pretty basic camera. It's a match needle meter system. And in fact, one day I'm going to do a comparison of this and the K1000 and talk about their similarities. What is interesting, from the back, these cameras really, I wouldn't say they're identical, but these cameras really look very close. Not identical, but pretty darn close, right? Pretty darn close. Think about the placement of the eyepiece and things like that. Very, very close. Okay, so there we have it. We have a Pentax Spotmatic with a Pentax Spotmatic SP, and it has a very fast 1.4 lens. Lens seems to be in nice condition too. Has very smooth focus. F-stops feel good. This is probably, I had one version that was right near the end because it had the rubberized focusing ring. This one still has the metal scalloped focusing ring. Anything else to note other than the frame counters up here? Well, that wasn't... You hate to see that. I'm going to guess it just wasn't screwed on. Yep, just wasn't screwed on. Better than it being broken. Try that again. Yep, there we go. Yep, I don't really have much else to say about this camera other than this is what was in the box. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And if you'd like to see me cover any particular camera, please make note of it in the comments below or send me an email at contact@camera-talk.net. Until then, keep on taking photographs.